right, coming to you live from Portland with OSCON. I'm here with James Urquhart. James, how are you?
I'm doing good. Good to see you, Barton.
Hey, good to see you. So this is our first podcast where we both work at the same company.
Exactly.
So Enstratius was bought by Dell. How long ago now did it close?
It closed on May 5th.
Okay, so pretty newly minted Dell employee. Just any quick impressions?
What's been really nice is that I don't think there's any other systems company that could have bought us where the fit with what Enstratius does and has done, and our roadmap fits so well with what Dell is looking for to fill from a gap perspective. So we've had a great time since joining the company. Really been engaged very well by everybody in the software organization and other organizations. So far, a honeymoon period still, but
nice.
We're actually pretty impressed. We're actually very happy that the fit is so good. So.
Cool. So just a couple of questions. One would be, where do you guys fit strategically? Maybe for folks who aren't familiar with Enstratius, just what you do and where you fit in the Dell Cloud portfolio.
Sure. So Dell is looking at the myriad of different ways that cloud services can be delivered, and you can see that in the way that they've sort of ramped up new partnerships in public cloud space. They've got several offerings in private cloud space, and they work with others in terms of private and hybrid cloud delivery. But the big issue really comes down very quickly to how do you get your hands around your cloud service consumption over time. And so the gap that Dell identified and began to think about was, how do we find a tool set that allows us to have operations teams to have consistent management and consistent governance of cloud consumption and cloud usage without removing that agility and that self-service capability that gets developers and gets others very excited about using cloud. And so, across all of the different partnerships and offerings they're looking at sort of what's the consistent way we can interact with that. And that's really where Enstratius fits in. So Enstratius is a multi-cloud management environment. We support today, we have 10 plus fully certified cloud partners. We have another 10 or so that are supported through the Design Open Source project that Enstratius uses for cloud abstraction. That we're working towards testing across all of those as well, and we've got customers using everything from mixes of AWS and VMware, or OpenStack, or CloudStack, or Rackspace, or there's just all kinds of combinations out there, and we support bringing all those together under one consistent operations model, one consistent operations interface with governance, security. With agility in terms of teams being able to self-service and use resources at will. And then in choice of not only the clouds that they can consume, but the tools they can integrate with from an operations perspective as they operate applications in those clouds. And so that gives a baseline front end to your cloud story, no matter what combination of clouds you choose to use.
So you're talking about operations. When you focus on people, you've got both the ops folks that you're thinking about as well as the developers.
Right.
How are you trying to court developers with this, and what is the pitch that you do towards them?
Yeah, so the big thing that we realized very early on when the use of our product is our buyer is operations, but the end user is developers. The end users of cloud services tend to be developers. So the pitch really becomes one of, the win-win scenario here is for developers, what they're going to get is a consistent environment with abilities to define complex distributed applications and the operations logic and automation around that using Chef and Puppet, and we have very, very easy to use, very native integration with Chef and Puppet. Use of various monitoring tools, tie back into billing systems if you're doing chargeback, things like that. But a consistent way of being able to define how they want to consume clouds, what the applications deployment architectures look like across different clouds, even single applications running across multiple clouds. And by giving that kind of consistent way of using things, really kind of speeding up the ability for a developer to use one or more clouds in their development, and be able to be very quick and agile in doing that. For the operations team, we begin to solve the problem of how to provide some backstops without ruining the self-service story. So imagine So imagine that you want to put some financial control so people can't overspend certain budget limits. We have that capability in the tool. Think of all of the keys that are managed. If you're encrypting volumes through a cloud account, on a VM through SSH, and that you're accessing through SSH, on hundreds or thousands of servers, the keys generated are immense. So being able to manage those keys and coordinate those keys centrally in an operations environment without having to have all the developers then have to manage the keys themselves and scattering them to the four winds. So there's a win for operations around compliance, security related issues without removing the agility that the developers get on the front end. And then what we're working towards is then being able to have your choice of cloud lifecycle bundles, build automation, deployment automation, and operations automation capabilities brought together and provisioned via Enstratius into the cloud or into whatever cloud environment you want, so that your build environments now give you choice and agility as well as the Enstratius deployment and operations environment.
Awesome. James Urquhart, thank you so much.
Thank you.